I will be reading about today. The majestic bald cypress trees produce knees that rise up from the roots of the tree and can be seen throughout the forest floor, like these little knees behind me. While their function is not entirely understood, it is believed that the knees provide the tree with extra structural support during floods and high winds. Bald cypress trees can live to be over 1,000 years old. Bald cypress wood is rot and water resistant. The wood is often called wood eternal because it decays slowly and may remain in perfect condition after 100 years of use. Historically, the Catawba and Congaree tribes used bald cypress wood for canoes because it was easy to work with and durable. Bald cypress trees were long in the late 1800s and used in roof shingles, docks, bridges, cabinetry, and more, which is why so few old-growth bald cypress trees exist today. Bye! Dark-colored mud, a mixture of clay and old leaves. This mud, called dwarven muck, is 8 feet thick and plays an important role in the health of the floodplain. It filters water, traps pollution, and turns pollutants into harmless compounds. By filtering water, it helps keep the floodplain and the Congaree River clean. Good job! So we were just hiking down our trail and we saw 5 snakes. We have no idea what kind they are, but they're pretty good of size.
Yeah, come down here to the right, guys. It's in the sun. And then there's one that's coiled up, well, just to the left of it. Follow your eyes. And then go all the way out.
Wow, that is a big one.
Yeah. Oh, here, this red one. You're on the wrong side of the tree. It's probably why. You can't miss him.
Black ones. He's cruising.
Water tupelo dominate the landscape here and are identified by their swollen trunks. These trees only grow where water is plentiful. You may notice moss on the lower part of the tree trunk. This is an indicator of the water level from previous floods. Flooding is natural occurrence in Congaree National Park and is important to bringing fresh nutrients in the floodplain. Standing dead trees are called snags. The tree itself may be dead, but snags are full of other life. Many species of insects, spiders, and fungi make their home in and on the dead wood. At the base of the snag, you will see the work of a pileated woodpecker. It's right there. The woodpecker breaks off wood chips-sized pieces to reach the insects living inside. Something exciting happened inside your mouth, I bet. I lost a tooth. He did lost his 8th tooth, and he's 8 years old. So, and he's reading number 8, so that's like perfect. Okay, go ahead whenever you're ready. The impressive height of Congaree's forest is the result of rich soil, frequent flooding, a long growing season, and a history of free, intensive logging. Here the trees you see average over 130 feet in height, making Congaree one of the tallest, deciduous forests in the world. The forest is rich in biodiversity, meaning it supports an abundance of many different kinds of living organisms. Guys, look at this tree. Look at all its roots. It fell over. And my mom will give us a safety message. Well, not a safety message, but she'll tell us how to tell how old a tree is. So, she'll give you an example.
This is a cross-section of a tree that uprooted itself, and each ring here is 1 year of tree life.
So,
And the wider the ring is, the concentric ring is, the wetter that season is during that time.
so the more rain
Yeah.
has each season, the bigger ring
Yes.
is what you're saying?
Look at the very youngest part of the tree, the
Mhm.
very end part.
Yes.
It's very wet still. You
See
can
that?
See
Mm-hmm.
It tells you how much rain it had that year.
This has to be at least 100 years old. Maybe even more. The little area you see on both sides of the boardwalk is called a gut. Guts and sloughs are low channels in the forest that help disperse water throughout the floodplain when the Congaree River floods. The guts fill with water prior to the entire forest floor flooding. During floods, silt and soil are deposited, replenishing the floodplain with nutrients. This fallen loblolly pine may have lived for 2 centuries before Hurricane Hugo knocked it down in 1889. Cut to clear the trail, and inspections of rings in the trunk reveal stories of forest fires, droughts, and years of abundant rainfall. The grand tree you see here is a loblolly pine. It is unusual to find pines growing in wetland areas. However, loblollies can tolerate living in wet conditions better than many other species of pines. Loblolly pines are the tallest trees in South Carolina. This tree is over 150 feet tall and is a former state champion. South Carolina is known as the Palmetto State. It is named after the state tree, the cabbage palmetto. The short fan-like palms beside the boardwalk are dwarf palmettos, relatives of the cabbage palmetto. They are one of the most hardiest palms due to their ability to withstand freezing temperatures. Dwarf palmettos thrive in the best in wet, sandy areas where a disturbance like a hurricane causes a gap in the canopy, allowing light to reach the forest floor. The 18th Amendment was passed in 1919, prohibiting the sale and consumption of alcohol in the United States. Moonshiners and bootleggers found refuge in places like the Congaree River floodplain to earn a living. The iron box you see in the distance is an old still used to make alcohol. Water and corn squeezing were used to make a sour mash. The mash was heated and distilled through copper tubing to produce moonshine. The Congaree floodplain's difficult terrain and tall trees made it a perfect place for moonshiners to hide stills and produce their illegal liquor. And I got my friend Lady on my... On September 21, 1989, Hurricane Hugo left its mark in this part of the forest, accompanying tornadoes likely that touched here, leaving large open gaps in the canopy. Many large trees did not survive, but seedlings and vines sprouted afterwards due to the abundant sunlight reaching the forest floor. Disturbances like these play an active part in the forest renewal. Fire has always been a natural occurrence in this forest. Today, the National Park Service manages the health of the forest through prescribed fires, which help restore the natural fire regime and provide habitat for the endangered red-cocked woodpecker. Loblolly pines are tolerant of fire and are normally left unscathed when fire severity is low to moderate. This fallen loblolly continued to burn after prescribed fire due to a naturally caused injury at the base of the trunk. And the loblolly behind me is the one that it is talking about. I will continue reading now. After the tree fell, resource managers sectioned the tree to ensure the fire was fully extinguished. As a reporter and editor for the state newspaper, Harry Hampton began a campaign in the 1950s to save the hunter. He spent time exploring the old-growth forest. The Sims Trail you're crossing is a former roads historically used by hunters, fishermen, and loggers scattered throughout the park. They serve as a reminder of the long human history and use of the land. Many people like Harry Hampton had a strong connection to protect it. Their efforts led to reestablishment Congaree Swamp National Monument, redesignated Congaree National Park in 2003. Just a few miles from here, where the Congaree and Wateree rivers meet, a maroon settlement once existed. The settlements were comprised of individuals who escaped slavery on nearby plantations and formed their own independent communities. Rivers provided a means for travel, finding food, and acquiring supplies. Dense vegetation in the floodplain forest, like the twisted roots seen here, provided safety because of the difficulty it posed for slave owners and slave catchers attempting to transvert in pursuit of those who had escaped. This forest existed long before it was protected as a national park. These natural sounds you hear today are some of the same sounds heard by the Congaree and Katuwa tribes that came here long ago. Take a moment to listen to the forest. You may be surprised what you hear. The forest comes alive with sounds of songbirds, frogs, and the wind blowing through the trees. What would the forest look and sound if it had not been protected? Let's take 2 seconds about to listen, and no talking. 3, 2, 1. Woodpecker. That's a woodpecker, all right. Okay, 2 more seconds. Have a great day.